Slight ripples were forming on the surface of a coffee stand on the desk. After so much time, funny word, spent at his workplace, Boros stopped even noticing the slight vibrations that were present at the office from time to time. He, though, was busy looking through some of the reports that he had received from the field agents in the main division. Sometimes, he envied the grunts on the ground. What they did was so much easier and far less messy. When he thought he was almost done, a woman, his sister, stepped into the room, placing down a whole new pile of documents on his desk.
Oura, what in 𝕠𝕗𝕗𝕗𝕚's name is this? I thought we were done for the day.
All that? She smiled innocently. Nothing. Just some new FT reports.
Ugh, again with the blasted FTs? I thought the boss was covering the space on these. He sighed.
You know how she is with these. She has sentiment for one, maybe two of them. But the rest is, keep an eye on him.
Oura giggled. And how much is this about you and the Nomad fiasco, huh?
Boros raised his eyebrow and took a sip from the cup of very tepid coffee. Brother, you hurt me. Are you suspicious of my intent? The woman tried to act more innocent and coy in the situation, but, as you can probably tell, she was failing miserably at this.
No, I know your intent, sister. You're trying to start up a new project that will get us into trouble. I heard that some people in the main division are already calling our little situation with him Sealess 2.0.
Boros sighed deeply again. What? Well, that's not fair. It's not that bad, is it? Oura was visibly hurt by this statement, whilst her brother responded only with a tired look and a quick sip from the even more tepid cup. You really should go and fill that up again. But, yeah, she continued, without a care. I just thought it that we're more careful this time, then maybe...
Great, here we go again.
Boros rolled his eyes, looking for further documents, trying to distract him from this pest.
Look, we can talk about it, but you have to help me sort those FTs out. I want to have this done quickly and go home.
All right. Oh, this one is fun. He went too far into the past. Oh, that's always funny when they do that.
Wait, haven't we dealt with this one before? I know that people from the main division kept mistaking him for Nomad before he went all rogue, you know?
Oura gave him a stern look. Can we just not talk about Nomad for a second, please?
Hey, I'm just making sure you remember about all the risks.
A corner of Boros's mouth slightly lifted up a little bit, as if he almost knew that he'd managed to goad Oura a little bit. You're no fun.
Nope. And you should have known that even when we were kids,
he said, taking another sip.
Alright, so what are we doing? Are we sending a cleaning crew to get him before he collapses the timeline, or are we leaving it a stamp of approval for a splinter timeline or something like that?
Well, I mean, sending someone will make things easier. See, that's why we need our own team. Going through all of the stuff from the guys from the main division, it needs way too much resources. Put us on the ground. We get things done much faster.
Like, not really. I mean, you just gotta call them and we'll be done.
Boros shrugged, him not really seeing the appeal of going out on the ground at the moment. Oura shuddered. Oh, no. We can text them. Whoever calls people these days. Or maybe you want to schedule a meeting. I know how much you love wasting people's time.
I can't waste someone's time if time doesn't flow in the traditional sense. And you know, it's always a good way to get to know them and see them in their most uncomfortable, tense state. You kinda get the best out of them. I hate meetings anyway, as every person does. They bring results, I suppose. I mean, if they get angry, good. I want to see them angry. You haven't met anyone until you've seen them angry. Anything else is just show.
Well, I'd rather not meet OBs and SBs when they're angry. I gotta be honest with you, brother.
One of those would probably wreck the entire office space. What a shame. Boros winked slightly. Alright, what else we got?
Well, we had a case of FT who got body swapped by his timeline bad Zs. Oura turned the page. That might end up gnarly, she sighed.
As it always is the case with the Zs. Almost 90% of them cause a timeline-ending situation. We know that already, Oura. We should probably set this one up for monitoring. Her brother marked a red
tick next to the bracket. Or was it an X? Didn't really matter. It was marked red.
You know, if we send someone there, we might actually stop the whole thing before the Omni King even gets there,
Boros stated enthusiastically, her sensing an idea.
No. You know how everyone above us hates when we intervene whenever the Omni King's involved. For good reason.
He interrupted her.
Yeah, but what if we do it before he's even notified? A whole new timeline's been saved. Come on!
Oh, you're circling back to the whole team idea again, ain't you?
Boros looked really tired and defeated at this point. It was the same old shtick every single time with her. Always about the team.
See? You also just admitted that we could use it.
She clapped enthusiastically, sensing some victory.
Oh, no. Don't you put words in my mouth, sis. Yes, okay, it would be prudent to have some dedicated force for that sort of danger. But the problem that you're missing out on is that if you're going to take some high-profile mortals out of that space, they are going to have personal stakes in all of that. They've all got their wants and needs. It was this way with Nomad, and even the boss had issues with the likes of Sealess. What makes you think that you can do it better?
Well, I'm glad you asked. No more stray puppies. This time, we will do some profiling.
She pointed at her desk, where she had multiple folders with loads of documents inside of them. Boros only had just noticed them. These didn't belong to their division. Where did she get them?
You stole them, didn't you?
He covered his face with his palm. Oh, it was always the same thing.
Well, I didn't exactly steal them. I borrowed them. They weren't being used anyway. I even had Nanta and Esha find some of the more interesting ones for me. Oh, those ones were even buried deeper.
Aura seemed very happy about herself.
Okay, let me get this straight. Not only did you steal these, but you invited Nanta and Esha into your schemes? You got accomplices? I don't care if you get in trouble for your crazy ideas, but pulling me and our co-workers into this? That's just annoying, sis.
She looked at him with a very disappointed look. He was spoiling the fun.
You know, you used to be cool, man.
She sighed.
In the past, you would have loved this kind of thing. What happened to you?
This entire situation happened, and I had to do it because no one else will. I hate being the only adult in the room, but sadly, turns I'm actually kind of good at it. It's one of the only things I'm good at.
At least have a look with me.
She smiled sweetly.
Pretty please. I can make some of the reports for you. I'll do the work.
He waved his hand dismissively. Okay, less work was not bad.
All right. But if you get the entire subdivision in trouble, you're the one taking the fall, not me.
But of course, but that won't be needed. It'll work this time. I'm sure of it.
You're always so sure of yourself. That's the problem.
All right, Grump. Let's go through those FTs then.
After that, they spent several hours monitoring the recent activity. The annoying thing with the Splinter timeline is that they had recently started to multiply like crazy. And since the organization had installed a new policy, they needed someone to take care of them. And those blasted FTs meant that said timelines would get entangled with one another. It never was pretty to see any of those in action. Someone had to do the paperwork and choose the right course of action. And recently, that had fallen at the doorstep of Boros. And it was for good reason. He was quite efficient, if he had the energy and motivation to do so, which was potluck most of the time.
All right, and done.
Aura was happy.
Now, ready to see the folders?
All right, let's get it over with.
He approached his desk and looked at some of the labels on the folders. He recognized some of them. The choices were rather exotic, he would give her that.
Really? You brought EWI 6RA and B?
I couldn't decide which one, so I brought them both.
Aura shrugged, and then decided to go with it.
Well, neither of the candidates from these lines seem too entangled, and they're all quite content with their lives. You don't want people like that. They start caring too much, make stupid decisions and all.
Doesn't matter. We should still review it. They don't need to be permanent additions. I do think we might need to rotate the team.
That could work, but Do you really think that she will allow you to do it? We would have to do some sort of memory cleaning if, well, we don't want everyone and their mothers getting involved. And the dinosaurs. Especially the dinosaurs. You know, all this, the moderate secrecy policy and all that?
Oh, right. Oh, shame. I really like that one. What about someone from EWI-6A? You like EWI-6A?
Okay, but from when would you snatch them? And who?
I mean, there's the old-timer, perhaps. We can snatch him from the moment when he was at his strongest, perhaps. But if you want someone younger, the later generations are showing some promise as well.
Forget about it. You know the rules. No kids. And for that matter, no old people either. In a way, they're not much better.
Now Oura was just getting exhausted, frustrated at all of the no's.
Oh, come on. Why? We can contact them when they're older or younger. These are perfectly valid candidates, Boros.
Boros looked at her with a very stern expression, him also getting tired of all of this.
You don't get it. Do you remember last time we got kids involved? When we had kids here? Alright, some of these do show promise, I'll give you that. But we need to choose the later periods of their lives. As for the old ones, let's say we have enough attractions with the Elder Kai talking smack and bossing us around. You really want another old geezer around here?
Seriously, you are so biased against old people because of one grumpy Kai? Come on! You're just making excuses at this point.
We had a candidate that seemed perfect before, and now we have to chase him to the little ends of time itself because he's doing Tommy knows what. Look, I'm just concerned that he will be able to sway each and every single one of them, whoever we bring out, should they cross paths.
He gave his sister a very serious look.
Let's be honest, they will cross paths. You know they will, because we're expected to clean up the mess.
Oura paused for a second and said nothing. She looked quite upset and angered, but also in a way contemplative, like she were genuinely thinking about this.
Okay, you got me there. This is something that I didn't consider.
Okay. Timelines are not unlike what some may think, completely separate entities. They might interact, and Nomad, he's done his homework. The last thing we need is a team of rogue assets messing with the timelines. You know that as well.
He tried not to sound too harsh, but impress upon her that this could easily end badly. She sighed loudly, defeated.
All right. Can you at least try one candidate that fits your bill? Maybe it will be easier this way. You do it.
Boros was quite surprised by this admission of defeat, but he agreed to pick one. He looked through the folders, numbered by the timelines. Each of them contained dossiers of multiple individuals from similar time periods. Due to certain stipulations, they were limited in scope in regards to the time periods that they were currently monitoring.
How about EWI-50? Seeks directions, probably won't get out of line. Decently strong. Good first candidate. Maybe not for the leadership role, but something.
She pondered this for a while.
Really? I mean, that's an interesting choice. Okay, we can start up the list with that then.
It took them even longer than taking care of all of the FT reports. Boros himself did not realize that the whole thing was actually becoming kind of addictive. It reminded him of why he missed the fieldwork so much. When he stopped to think about it, this was just like the good old days, wasn't it? For now, they had 7 names on the shortlist, with EWI-31 being the last one to that list. They also gave each of them an additional label, a little bit of a title, if you will, something that could make them a little bit easier to identify.
All right, let's stop here. We don't want to get too crazy.
Oura nodded, rather content.
Are you gonna show it to the boss?
Well, I will have to eventually.
Oura?
Boros raised his finger.
All right, I will. Don't be worried, that was just a joke.
She winked, sticking her tongue out.
Okay, you deal with that.
He sat at his desk.
Then come back to me if we have anything.
She smiled wildly and left the room, leaving Boros alone with his thoughts. He made another cup of coffee in the meantime, and as he put it on the desk, more ripples appeared. It's not like he disagreed with his sister, but the risk was pretty great. He took the cup and decided to take a walk outside with it. As he stepped out, the giant gears encircling a gargantuan hourglass were rotating at a barely noticeable speed. But he could see it, every grain of sand, every turn of the gear, every slip of time, every ripple in the coffee. Maybe only the boss, the supreme Kai of time, could experience the time flow in even greater detail than him or his sister. But he found this experience oddly calming, like this was the ticket to all of his woes. Although he knew that if his time were limited, he would be more terrified of it. No wonder Nomad went rogue. Them mortals. That was the big problem. A lack of a greater perspective. Probably brought on by the fact that they don't live very long. But it wasn't their fault. They were made that way. And anyway, it's not like Boros disliked them or anything. Not really. They were important. And unlike some gods, he had great respect for them. It's just that some knowledge, it should be really kept away from them. For their own good. Their tiny little minds couldn't really process it properly. And they usually went mad if they tried. He watched the panorama of the eternal city that never slept from above. Suddenly, the ripples on the surface of his coffee got even more erratic, more uneven. It was growing. Something was happening again. He had to be ready. Well, the break was over. He took a big sip and returned to the office for just another day.